welcome to Smart Means Business. Manju Ubariji, and definitely it's the 28th of March 2024. Yes, of course, heading straight into the topic of discussion of the day today, and discussing matters to do with social protection. And of course, taking a look at getting to understand that about 20.3% of the population in Uganda lives below, that is the poverty line. That is something approximating to about 8 million people. Well, we shall be dissecting that further as we proceed through. Marcy, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Andrew. Good morning, everyone that is tuned into Smart 24 TV. Yes, today is the very last day. And yesterday in the evening there was a lot of traffic, and I was telling someone probably this is the time actually of the year where people head to their upcountry homes, to celebrate, because the days of holiday are longer. Absolutely. A bit longer. Yes, well, of course, talking about the social protection financing that we have in Uganda, and of course it's actually allocation. When they're allocating, it doesn't even go beyond 1%.
Yeah, it's less than 0.
Zero.
Allocation for social protection, and that is quite the lowest.
I think
South Africa.
I think at the end of the day, because majority of people are into the private sector, and maybe public companies, institutions, and the like, they are responsible for their social protection. Yeah, we have national security, social security fund.
Yeah,
people save for the future.
Exactly.
Compared to those that are civil servants, where at least government pays up for their retirement.
Exactly.
And the fact that we talked about poverty. People are reluctant because now you are surviving on a daily.
Yeah, absolutely very true. Because most of the people, about like 43% of the population in Uganda, is not necessarily poor, but the challenge is, like what you mentioned, in case of any small, for example, in case something happened, like a pandemic or weather, climate change, or chronic illnesses, or death of a breadwinner, it's very easy for such a population to head back to poverty. And that is so absurd if we're talking about Uganda's perspective. People seem to be okay. I think the COVID-19 was a big demonstration, because I was wondering how people could work for all those years, but only 2 months are enough to put them out. So it shows you out that many people are working, they look to be okay, but a slight change in terms of economic policy, or in case they lost their jobs, you could see that their life could be messed up in space of just 3 weeks, and that is very dangerous for a country. And 43% is such a huge percentage.
I believe that is why even we are still reluctant when it comes to insurance.
Insurance, very true.
Because if you look at your wages as a person, as an individual, and you are to pay for insurance, you have to pay for social security. How much are you going to be left with? Do you think you're going to be left with enough to sustain you for that very month or that very year? I mean, that is why I think people in Uganda are really reluctant, because they do not have enough to be like, I'm saving for the future.
For the future.
Because even remember a story that we had from Barara, people were saving as low as 4,000 a month. Who does that? 4,000 a month is quite little. How much do you expect to have? How much do you have saved in a year? It can't even. You can't even afford, the bare minimum with that amount of money.
Absolutely right. And of course, you need to understand that in 2015, the government approved the National Social Protection Policy to provide comprehensive social protection services, that is to address risks like vulnerabilities. But of course, the policy envisions a society where all individuals here are secure and resilient to socio-economic risks and shocks. Of course, like mentioned earlier, that Uganda, notwithstanding the coverage, the social protection is still quite low. Very low at only 4%, with only about 0.7% of the country's gross domestic product, which is allocated for financing social protection And of course, this is one of the lowest in the region compared to our neighbors, because according to a report here, Kenya has allocates about 1% of the social protection, Tanzania 1.7%, and Rwanda rather comes into 1.8%. So Rwanda seems to be much more cautious about the people. And you see, something which people need to understand is that a majority of the people that need the social protection related services, the social protection financing, they are the ones in running the micro enterprises, which micro enterprises, once given the funding, once they have the muscle funding, they have the capability of employing at least 40% of the population of what we consider the middle class in that perspective. But they can't do that, and they are limited to a number of people they can actually employ, which leaves out opportunities for other people, which is not right. Why? Because when you understand that as any country, that your citizens are the primary priority before you do anything else, then we shall have economic growth. I mean, it's inevitable, you know, because, and one of the ways you can do that is ensuring that there is a stable monetary policy and fiscal policy, which enables people to have access to credit, and such that when they have access to credit, they either purchase or they either invest or their purchasing power increases because you care about them. Many people are vulnerable, you know, and that the vulnerability is limiting their possibility when it comes to productivity. So I think we need to see amendments in terms of that, and I believe today later on in the discussion we shall be having members of parliament as we table this down, because later on we shall be seeing the proposed allocations for social protection and other complementary interventions for the budget financial year 2024-2025. And according to just a few observations, there seems to be a huge gap in here if we are to do comparisons, but that will be later on into the show. It's not this particular time. But of course, what people need to understand that globally, up to 26 million people fall into poverty annually. That is due to factors like climate shocks and, of course, effects of drought. And we realize that also 62% are affected by sharp changes in prices. Now, in Uganda, between 2015 and 2022, 77% of the total population were affected by effects of drought. 77% effects of drought, and 62% affected by sharp changes in price. So the price fluctuations have a huge impact on people's livelihood in this country, and that is something that we need to acknowledge and get to understand.
You know, Andrew, I was going to tell you how I find it ironical that the people that are supposed to actually benefit more, fine, they could be in the private sector, but they're supposed to benefit more because they contribute a lot to the country's economy. Talking about the SMEs, the intermediate enterprises. It's ironical how they contribute to payment pensions for these guys that at the end of the day they have cars, they have houses. You know, you can imagine that kind of unfair system. You know, someone has been working, they're paying taxes. At the end of the day, someone retires, civil servant retires, they have a house, they have bodyguards, they have a car. I mean, how is that even fair?
That is
how much
true.
do you think that person you've been, I don't know if it's going to extorting taxes from, how much do you think they're going to have at the end of their retirement? How much do you think it's quite fair?
I mean, it's never fair, definitely, because I normally ask myself when you mention about retirement, even away from just retirement, if you could ask yourself a question that if I lost my earnings today, how long will my savings keep me? Can they take me to a year? Because if you can afford to work for 10 years and your savings can't take you for a year or even half a year. So what's the guarantee that when you retire, your savings from the different, social security funds is going to be viable when it comes to your, because at that time you're unproductive and no one is even going to give you a job, mentally. So you need to rest. But how how sustainable is that? And then that's when you start relying on your children, which is also, they also have a lot on their back. So the challenge now comes in here where we have a huge people that are vulnerable and they are depending on a small class of people that is working. But this is how it accumulates, you know, and that's the reason why we have low tax collection. The taxpayers are less, you know, so quite so many factors in there to be put in place.
Well, last year, for the very first time, Uganda actually was able to have received external funds, you know, for social protection. The 2023-2024 financial year, for the very first time, we had to get finances for such a case. Yeah, so it's quite. I don't know. Maybe we need to find means of budgeting more, you know, for people, for those that are into those are civil servants. Let's talk about pension for the elderly. I mean, who caters even for the people with disabilities? Is there a way that they? Because
if we have funds that are availed for them in their rightful,
do you know the procedure it takes for a person to get their pension?
It's bureaucratic, of course. It's quite bureaucratic, but I think it's about the policymakers to come to this awakening, to realize that if they don't allocate, the funds necessary, the pension and all this, that means these people are going to be forced to depend on the working population, their sons, relatives, cousins, and once they are derailed of all this, they're overwhelmed with this responsibility. How are they going to fulfill their duty? Most especially when it comes to tax collection.
Exactly.
So these are, I think, perspectives which we shall be discussing with the members of parliament later on, and so they show the business insight, seeing how we can really improve our social protection policy in terms of allocation and the GDP, because these are the people. The economy thrives on people, on how you treat them and with the right policies. Well, for now, let's take a look at what's making headlines across the newspapers in here. Councils to get pay rise. Local government ministry reveals how the new structure is going to be like. This is according to the top page here in the New Vision. And of course, taking a look at an Islamic bank launched. President Yoweri Museveni here launching the Salam Bank. So you can find more when you grab yourself a copy of the New Vision. And taking a look at the new ministers sworn in. Yes, Fiona Nyamutoro, Lillian Abba, seeing here Balan Barudehara, Florence Wamala Nambozo, General Wilson Imbadi here, and Kenneth Obona. Quite a list of about six ministers here. So grab yourself a copy to obtain the further details in line with that.
Well, of course, we have to really celebrate. There is need for celebration as we see maize and milk exports earnings going up. Yeah, there is actually statistics here showing the performance of different export products that we've been having as a country. Uganda, looking at maize with $80 million up by $144 million. So you can imagine from $80 million to $144 million. Then dairy milk from $103 million to $265 million. So that is how we've been exporting.
That is quite
dairy,
positive.
yes.
So that is for the March.
Yeah.
Because according to the previous report.
2021 financial year.
Yeah.
2023.
2023.
They will give us for 2022-2024.
Okay.
Yes. And of course, government orders schools to register their teachers. And of course, as we prepare for the Easter season, let's be careful on the roads. I'm seeing road safety tips for Easter holiday travels. I know Davido is going to be in place on the 29th, so please, I know there is time for enjoyment. I understand, but then once you're coming from there, I know people have to enjoy, spend a little bit of money, drink a little, bottle or two. But then if you know your situation, get someone, call an Uber, park your car, call an Uber, call a safe border, and get home safe, okay?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now, of course, taking a look at the Ugandan Investment Fund, which penetrates Kenya, Nigeria, and how Uganda's first Islamic bank is actually going to be operating. I know you could be asking yourself quite lots of questions. No profits, no what? How are they going to be operating? You'll get to find out further details in line with that. And now, of course, here girls are beating boys in vocational examinations. Yep, so find out when you grab yourself a copy. And of course, the local government leaders pay rise. The details still here as we proceed through. And President Museveni urging the new ministers to promote wealth creation and fight corruption at the same time. And 65,000 teachers, support staff miss April's salary.
Wow. Okay. And of course,
to miss April's salary.
What?
Salary, yeah. Salary.
Okay.
So the details are further in here. Of course, government is setting deadline for registering
those are
onto the MS system.
Yes, they have to be real teachers.
Yeah.
Real identification there. We don't want now to have misallocation of not misallocation, but then ghost teachers like we had last year, and lots of money was spent onto those ghost teachers. Well, of course, government to upgrade 5 Wakiso roads, and of course we're looking at going to total to 72.5 kilometers, aimed at improving traffic flow and connectivity within the area of Wakiso, Kampala, and PG districts. Well, as a means of reducing congestion into the capital, I feel like we need more roads, more highways, and of course, the situation of mental health is really key as patients are overwhelming Butavika. What is really happening in our country, Uganda? Yeah, people are not mentally okay. Absolutely, lately overwhelmed with a lot of things that happen. So please keep your mental health in check. You know.
Yeah.
Talk to a few people, and of course MPs reject proposal to waive the 13 billion in taxes for 7 entities. Yeah, and of course I'm seeing Henry Musasi, the finance state minister, here with this proposal. Yeah, and of course looking at the minister for animal industry and fisheries, you know, even a report on the export earnings. It's quite interesting, actually, when you're giving such reports. You have to be there as a minister in person to deliver the report. Because
of course it has to.
Yeah, and of course I'm seeing we really increased, actually. I'm seeing, though some have really declined, but at least with the ones that we have in surplus, the ones that we have in plenty, at least we have improved. Coffee coffee has actually reduced, but milk, we looked at maize, we looked at milk. So those are the ones that have actually improved. Most of them have dropped, so we have to add value in the ones that have dropped.
All right, now, of course, taking a look at Uganda set to host the African Water Congress, and of course, we seem to be lagging behind, according to experts, when it comes to water sanitation. And now this explains the reason as why we are giving this opportunity. And of course, taking a look at the ministry issuing guidelines on the special land titles. Yeah, digital titles. I remember some time back when they were talking about digitizing the land titles, and also the aspect of addresses, registration, such that you can easily be located, and also to help to ensure that government delivers, for service delivery towards government to its people. Yeah.
And of course, those that are into construction, I am looking at the prices of iron sheets and cement shooting up. So very soon, I'm very sure people are going to be duplicated in these things. Oh my goodness.
Absolutely.
These are expected. For now, a bag of cement is at 46,000. The one that was at 35,000, 46,000.
That's quite exploitative.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, taking a look at government commissioning 5 roads worth 340 billion Ugandan shillings, and court issues arrest warrant against South African money lending firm bosses. This is what I'm seeing. Warren van der Merwe from South Africa here is photo is actually right there. So find out further details in line with the money lending farm bosses in South Africa, but of course operating in Uganda. Well, of course, seeing here part of the special report, somebody tells you briquettes energy stoves save West Nile. Briquettes, yeah, we're talking about that. And that brings us to the end of what is happening into the press. And now we cross and take a look at what's happening in the world of traffic. And of course, the images that you're looking at up to there are coming in straight from the Kira Road ejection just next to the police station. That is along the Ntinda-Bokoto route. And that is exactly we are observing here. Massive congestion, of course. But do people travel a lot up country during Easter?
Yeah, they do actually, starting from this day.
I thought it's more of a festive, it's a Christmas Christmas thing. It's a Easter part.
No, because you see, for Easter, for Easter, Christmas holiday, most people are working private companies, so they give them a space of 24th, 25th, 26th, and 27th. You're back to work.
Non-fifth, fame. Non-fifth, fame. Yeah, so this is from Thursday till Monday. So Easter is the longest.
Yeah. According to me, actually.
Okay.
Because you could have probably, if Christmas was on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you're back in office.
But you see, well, like what I'm saying, I don't feel the whole urge of, you see, like towards this Christmas, you go to town and you find this whole congestion. First of all, of the vehicles, which is too much, and it doesn't seem to be the same for Easter's case.
Yeah.
So that's why I say that probably people don't travel a lot up country during Easter.
Okay. Probably that could be fair. Yeah. All
right. Now, of course, the images we observe in the Kira Road, you can see it's a little bit, just Ntinda-Bokoto route seems to be the one congested, but the rest of the routes are quite really friendly. And of course, taking a look at that route that with borders, that is Kira Road, links you up to straight all the way to Kamocha roundabout, and of course before there you reach the Malago roundabout before you can proceed to any other related destination. But that is the situation. It's of course it's not congested at all. So if you're coming in from Kira town and you're heading to Ntinda-Bokoto, if you're coming in from the city via the Kira Road and you're heading to Ntinda-Bokoto, well, it's quite friendly for you. You will be able to reach in the required time. It's only those that are coming in from Ntinda-Bokoto and heading to the city center, which have a little bit of a challenge. Yes, but it's not as tight as you might assume. It's a bit in motion. You'll have to be patient for about 10 to 15 minutes. At least it's much more better than being in a situation where you have to wait for about 30 to 40 minutes. Well, that is it from the traffic report. Exactly 26 minutes past 7. I will take a short break and, of course, still returning with the Caribbean East Africa and the international updates. Stick around.